What's good, YouTube family? It's your boy SCraftBlendz back again with another barber tutorial. And as the description and title have said, this is one of the hardest haircuts that I have to do every week. This is a customer who comes in every week. I appreciate him. However, his hair is difficult to cut. If you look in the fade area towards the parietal ridge, all you see is spots and patches, and it's difficult. And he likes it to be a little tighter on the side, but he likes it low as far as ending at the very bottom where his C-cup goes into that vertical bar. He doesn't want a C-cup. He likes his vertical bar to be as long as possible, but he likes it stretched out. So he likes it fuller towards the very top, and he wants it stretched really tight all the way down to the bottom. Now the challenge is his head is more of kind of a tight, round, pointed type head at the top, so we have to freehand that fuller part up towards the top of his head to kind of give him more of a square look. And it's challenging, man. And of course we have challenging haircuts, but what I like to do on his hair is I started out with a zero guard closed, and I just kind of hit that middle section, and it, you know, stretches things out, but it also gives me, you know, something to work with. And then I took the zero guard off and went in just with an open blade underneath that, more towards the end of that vertical bar, because I want to keep it down lower. And as you can see, just hitting it with the zero guard and with the open blade, you can see spots that look fuller and spots that look thinner. So it kind of looks patchy already. So it's hard to get a good clean blend with this type of hair, so you just have to keep working at it. So then, without setting a harsh guideline, because I've realized that even putting, you know, a bald line in or a harsh guideline, it gets difficult to remove that bald line with his head. So I try not to create a bald line. However, I do slowly close the blade as needed until I get it bald. But even where I'm hitting, you know, with the blade fully closed, I believe in this position, it still kind of leaves, you know, spots. So then I come in underneath and I just shave it out with the trimmer, and then I'll hit it with the shaver without creating, you know, the harsh bald line. However, there again, man, it is a challenge to do his hair. It's really spotted and speckly, and it's just hard to do. So I figured, you know, I wanted some of you guys to know, you know, that every haircut is not perfect, and every head is not perfect, and we have to just come up with tips and techniques on how to make it as blurry as possible. And you know, one of the things that Jeezy actually did a while back is he challenged everyone to an every haircut challenge, and the idea was to show people that we, you know, we don't always post and record, you know, the haircuts that are very challenging or don't come out as nice as we would like them to. We look for that perfect head, and that's what we do a lot of times as YouTube barbers. We look for that perfect head, the one that the hair is nice and thick, it's nice and dark, and it gives you, man, that blurry look. And that's what we want. We want people to look at our work and say, man, you're gifted, man, you're talented, oh man, that's a great barber. And we all want to put our best foot forward, right? However, I think what makes us better barbers is not getting the perfect head. It's getting the heads like these that are very challenging, and then doing the best we can to make it blurry, because it's haircuts like these that you get frustrated, man. You're just like, oh my gosh, like I cut a little bit of hair and then there's another spot, you know, and it's frustrating. it's challenging. So we have to learn how to keep working with those, you know, those issues that we find, and we just got to keep working. And sometimes it takes a little while, and I believe that's one of the reasons my man Will keeps coming back to me, is because he's went to other barbers that just left them looking patchy, you know. And I try my best to not do that. Or right now, see with the number one open, I'm floating that blade up so it's not digging into his head. And I'm not really using a guard, because I found that even if I use bigger guards, a lot of times it doesn't get it as square as I would like to, because his head does get more narrow towards the top. And in order to, you know, create that boxy look, I just almost have to freehand, like float the you know, blade up like I'm doing now, or the guard. So then I close it and come in and just try to erase that line. And as you can see, man, the more I dig into it, the more patchy it looks. And it's almost a nightmare, man. You're just like, oh my gosh, you know. The first time I cut his head, I was like, this is going to take all day. And over time, I've, you know, tried to pick up different techniques on how to cut his hair, you know, to kind of save some time. And I can do it a lot quicker than the very first time I did it. However, man, it's still challenging. I'm not gonna lie. I love the haircuts that are just easy, you know. His is not one of those. However, what I've found is the people that have more challenging hair, they will seek you out and usually pay the money that you're asking to get that extra time and to get it the way they like it, you know. So a lot of the cuts I do, man, they're definitely not perfect, but the heads are not perfect, and it's challenging. You know, a lot of the easier cuts that I used to do, I don't get a whole lot of those anymore, because the clientele that I have, they pay more money, but they do require more time, man, more of my time to try to, you know, get it looking how they want it. I wish I still had some of the easy heads, but I know I've been talking a lot just about the whole situation instead of explaining the cut. So I started out with a 0 closed, and once I created a nice place to fade into, then I went ahead and opened that 0 and just flicked a little bit, you know, to kind of give me some room to transition into that 1 close and 1 open. And I did the 1 close and 1 open all the way up towards the top, floating it to try to keep the top fuller and to give it a more boxy look when you look from the front. And then I just worked that 0 and open blade and closed blade towards the bottom. And now I'm coming in with thinning shears, trying to work at some of that spots, that speckled look, you know, to try to knock that out. And I'll continue to do that quite a bit. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side that I did on the other side, obviously speeding it up so we can knock this video out in adequate time. But I started with the 0 closed, just made a nice wide panel, and then I kind of opened it up, flicked at that 0 closed line that I made, and then, you know, I came back in with the open blade and kind of doing more of a fade down technique in this area, closing it, you know, ever so slightly as I work my way down. And I'm just tapping at those dark spots while trying to blend into a bald area. So now that I pretty much did that, I go in with my trimmer and just shave up everything underneath, and then I hit it with my shaver, you know, to clean it up. First I put this guideline on, I guess my front edge first, and then I come in with that. And a lot of times I'll do this because I feel like it gives me a better picture of the detail work that I need to do. So that's just basically all. That's not the number 1 guard on there yet. This is 0 and open blade and close, and a lot of that towards the thicker area up top is just me floating into it with the guard that I had on it. And now I'm just really, before I move up into that number 1, like I'm doing now. I was just trying to do some detail work on the bottom to make my life a little easier. But yeah, so now I went in with that number 1, open, floated into it. Now I'm closing that number 1, trying to tie these together. There again, he likes it a little, it looks almost like a high fade because it's darker at the top, but it is, in my opinion, considered a low fade because the fade ends lower. It's just really stretched out. And as you can see on this side as well, spots and speckles and patches everywhere. It is hard to cut his hair, I'm not gonna lie. But I just come in with the corner of my blade and I just go to work, tapping from the bottom to the top. Man, I'm just tapping. Come in with blending shears, tapping. Come in with regular shears, just tapping. Just trying to do my best, man, to lighten those dark spots where those hairs like to group together. And I want them to blend in as best as possible with those lighter spots. And it's challenging. But there again, I didn't want you guys to see, I don't want y'all to see the perfect blends, man. I want you to also see that, man, like, okay, there's some cuts that may never look as blurry as the ones we see on Instagram. Like, I may have a picture of him on my Instagram, but usually this is not an Instagram haircut, you know what I mean? And I see people that post pictures like this all the time on Instagram, and they don't get the likes or the follows that maybe they could because it's the hair, not the actual cut itself, you know? And people that don't know that, they're just like, man, this dude got all patched up. No, dude, he was patched up when he came in. I'm trying to help him out, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, we will get this fade looking good, in my opinion. However, I still want y'all to know it takes a lot of work, and I'm just gonna show you, you know, how I try my best, man, to just do detail work to, you know, get this fade looking good. So now, you know, obviously we're just cleaning up the line, and he shaves the front of his widow's peak. So I just try to straighten that out for him as best as possible. There again, I walk away, I look at the front, and then I come back and look at the side, and I see, you know, spots that I got to keep touching up. On the top, just trimming a little bit using my clipper over finger technique that I like so much. And you know, I usually, if he has a part like he does, I'll start closer to the part, make my first sections, and then I go down the middle, and then I go down the other side. And now I'm just cross-cutting it, making sure we take out the little peaks and valleys, make all that smooth. So now that we got that done, on this side of the part, closer to me, he didn't want to cut any of that hair because he's trying to keep it there again, kind of boxy looking, and so he has a little bit to comb down, which is challenging to do whenever they want it faded so tight, you know. But now I'm coming in with shear over comb and just trying to make sure all those hairs are connected. I know that there's some hairs in the back that actually poke out, and I have to go around the head and work on those, you know. But there again, step back, look at the spots, and you see all those patches, and you're like, man, let me just keep tapping at that dark spots to try to, you know, try to blend them in. I went ahead and hit him up with a little bit of color enhancement on his lineup, cleaned up his beard. Sometimes I'll put a little color enhancement in the fade itself to try to take out some of that splotchy look and just fill in some of those bald areas where the fade was at. But yeah, man, like, this haircut isn't perfect by any means, but dang it, it's the best that I can do, man. And you know, I consider myself to be a decent barber, and man, sometimes you run into heads like this where you're just like questioning yourself, man, like, my God, what is going on with me? But you just keep on working. So I feel like we got the fade like he wanted, low but stretched really tight. And anyways, then I just go around, clean up the back of his neck, and a lot of times what I do is I keep picking, man. I just see things and I'm like, oh, I gotta keep going. But we know that we have our next appointment coming in, so I just say, man, do what you can with the time that you have. Make sure everything is clean as possible. But if you have a few seconds and you see something, touch it up. Usually I'll clean up all the beard and all that stuff, but remember, whenever you let the cape down, sometimes there's hair going all the way down towards their chest. If it's sticking out of their shirt, I cut it off, man. I don't want, you know, their face looking all clean and down by their shirt, man, this bush sticking out, unless they want it, you know. But I try to make sure every little thing is cleaned up, because in my opinion, that's paying attention to the details, and people like that. I'll do another once over with my trimmer just to make sure that we get everything clean, and then hit them with that cherry almond alcohol. And so you can see from this angle here, tight on the side but square up top. That's what you wanted. So anyways, hey, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, you can do that at S.Craft_blends with a Z. Till next time, God bless you guys. We'll see you later. Peace.